So, okay, here's the deal. Today we're going to talk about pressure washing again because you guys are blowing me up. Oh my goodness gracious, you guys have so many questions about pressure washing. And that's cool. Don't get me wrong. That's awesome, man. Keep them coming. I'm glad to help. The biggest question that I keep getting from people is, will the bleach hurt the vegetation around the house? Yes, bleach will hurt your vegetation around your house. That's the simple answer. That's the truthful answer. That's the safe answer. Now, how does bleach not hurt the vegetation around your house? Well, because it's diluted. We dilute it. And so when you're putting, you know, if you put a gallon of bleach, and you got to remember now, I use strong bleach. I don't use the over-the-counter 8% bleach. So everything that I say to you guys can actually mix it a little bit stronger if you're just going to Walmart or Publix or Kroger or wherever, and you're buying like Clorox concentrate. You'll see on there that's like 8.25% is their maximum. So is there a difference between like 8.25% or 8.5% bleach and 10% bleach or 10.5% bleach like I use? Is there a difference? Huge difference. And the perfect example is when I go from a 10.5% bleach to 12% bleach, the 12% bleach burns, hurts, tingles your skin like there's no tomorrow, whites your clothes instantly, whites your clothes, puts a hole in your jeans. I mean, it's like freaking, it's like battery acid in your stomach, man. That stuff, you start getting into that 12%, whoo-wee, you gotta be really, really careful. So the difference between 12% and 10% is night and day. 10% is a lot less volatile, but it's still strong. The difference between the 10% and the 8%, like you would get off the shelf at Walmart, is gonna be night and day as well. So when I mix my stuff, if I'm going 1 part bleach to 10 parts water, you guys could probably get away with 1 part bleach to 7 parts water and have the same effect. Now the difference is you're not going to go as far as I'm going to go. I have 3 extra gallons of water of mix to spray onto a house, and that's why, you know, if you buy the over-the-counter bleach from Walmart or whatever, you're not going to be able to get as much done as I can get done with the 10% stuff because I can mix it a lot thinner. It goes a lot further with the same effectiveness as the stuff that you're using. You know, you might have a little spray bottle, I can have a bigger spray bottle, and we're both paying about $3 a gallon. Okay, when it's all said and done, I'm paying about 3 something a gallon, and you're paying about 3 something a gallon. I paid $50.29 for a 15-gallon jug at the pool supply place, 10.5% bleach. So, you know, the chlorine bleach. So when you start doing the math on that, $50.29 at 15 gallons, you know, I'm just over $3 too. You're just over 3, I'm just over 3. So I can go a lot further. So, you know, it's a lot better. And then when you start getting into the 55-gallon drum, at 100, it's like 140 something dollars, I think, with tax, maybe 150 bucks, or I think it's like 147 or 148 bucks maybe with tax on 55-gallon drum. You're it's somewhere around there. You're even less costly per gallon. It's like way down in the very low 3s or maybe the high 2s a gallon. And at that's the 12% stuff. That 55-gallon drum is the 12% stuff. That stuff, you can really go far with that mix. You're going to get a lot more distance because you could put that 12% bleach in even more water and go even further, a lot further. The problem is it's 600 freaking pounds. I can't move it around. It's hard to get it out of my truck. It's, you know, I mean, it's such a pain in the ass, and you got to use it up because it will lose its potency over time. And I hear different stories as to how fast bleach loses its potency, but bleach loses its potency. So I've been doing all right with the $50, you know, $15 bleach for now. It's safe. I'm not ruining anything. And when it comes out of my gun, it's thin. You know, it's thinned out. It's not hurting the vegetation. It's not staining the walls. So a lot of you guys are asking questions about the vegetation. Is it hurting the grass? Is it going to hurt the bushes? Is it, you know, is it going to stain the walls? Does it stain your clothes? Yes, that bleach will stain your clothes. The bleach I use will stain your clothes. But it's thinned out enough that it's not really killing the plants. I've never had a complaint ever. Now, could it happen? I'm sure. Will it happen? I bet it might someday. You know, I do have liability insurance, so if I kill a family heirloom or something, that some plant that's been passed down to family for years and years, you know, I mean, I could say right now I'll go spray anything, anytime, anywhere, and I'm not worried about damaging anything because I've just about sprayed every freaking thing. Painted cedar, vinyl, brick, painted stucco, painted styrofoam. People have like those, looks like blocks designs on the corners of their homes. That's styrofoam. You know, that crap will be painted. Never had a problem with the solution that I'm using, and like I said, my Downstream injector, the stainless steel one, is pulling at about a 10-to-1 mix ratio, according to the guys that I bought it from at the shop. They said that again yesterday when I was there. They said that's about 10-to-1. Because I asked them, I was like, damn, dude, that thing sucks my chemical tank dry fast. I mean, that stainless steel one is amazing how fast it sucks my chemical tank down. And he was like, yeah, well, I mean, it's only 10-to-1, so I mean, that's kind of weird. Like, oh, whatever, dude, it sucks it down. And then and it's such a huge difference too. When I use that stainless steel one, I can see when I shoot a window, I see a lot of suds. Then if I switch and I go to my one that's adjustable, even if I have it wide open, like really pulling all the chems that it can, it doesn't put that much bleach on. It's not sucking the chemical tank as fast. So I don't really know. I'm you know, the only thing you can do is do a trial run, you know, with like a 5-gallon bucket of water, or maybe 2 5-gallon buckets. You know, fill up, put your chemical hose on and everything, and you know, prime everything, get everything sprayed out so you know you're pulling, and then go ahead and using the black soap tip, fill up a 5-gallon bucket and measure to see how much material went down in the other, you know, take an empty 5-gallon bucket, take a full 5-gallon bucket, maybe mark it in gallon marks or something. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, just mark it in gallon marks, put some bleach and water in there, or even just put some water in there. I would put like some water and soap so it has the same consistency, so I know it's pulling the same through the siphon hose, and fill up an empty 5-gallon jug, and when I get to, you know, a 5-gallon full, measure how much went down in the other 5-gallon jug. Then I know I put 5 gallons of something in here. You know, this is 5 gallons, but I only used 1 gallon of my chemical here, so then I know I would be a 4-to-1 mix. You know, 1 gallon here, 4 gallons of water came out, filled up a 5-gallon bucket, that would be 4-to-1. You know, if only a half came out, that would be, if a half gallon came out, then that would be 8-to-1. So I mean, I could do that, I just haven't done that yet. So I mean, but that's something that I probably should do, since you guys are asking such detailed questions now. I don't want to give you bad advice. All I can say is it hasn't hurt my vegetation, it hasn't stained anything that I have done, but I also make sure that if I spray something, I spray all of it. So if it was to stain, it's going to stain all of it, and then it would match, you know what I'm saying? For instance, I went on an estimate the other day at a hotel. It's like an extended stay type hotel, and the guy's going to shut down one half of the parking lot. I'm going to come and I'm going to do one half of that hotel, and then the next day everybody needs to park on the other side of the parking lot, and then I'm going to come and I'm going to do that half of the hotel. He wanted only the top gutters and like things like that done, and I'm like, well, that's impossible. He's like, well, what do you mean it's impossible? I said, well, how am I going to hit the gutters and not hit your siding? And he's like, well, and I said, that's going to leave like clean marks in your siding. So when I give you a price, I'm giving you a price because the material I'm going to use is going to do the entire building. So I'm going to do your entire hotel. The entire place is going to get pressure washed, and I'll do one day will be this side and one day will be that side, but you're going to be paying for the entire thing. And he was like, well, don't use bleach. I'm like, well, what do you want me to use? He said, use chlorine. I was like, well, chlorine is bleach. And he goes, no. And I said, all right, dude, you have yourself a good day. And I turned around and I walked away. Literally, I turned around and I walked away. Because I've learned decades ago, you don't ever do work for somebody who's not in your business, who knows more than you. If they're not in your business, but they know more than you, you will never, ever, ever be done with that job. They will be over your shoulder. They'll be telling you what to do. You're going to give them a price. You're going to wish it was 3 times higher by the time the job is done, because it'll never be done. He'll always call you back. There'll always be a problem. You never did it right. And I was like, you know what? I'm out of here, dude. You're not going to tell me how to do my job. I beat it. And I did. I beat it. And I was giving a price for somebody who, you know, I was going to fall in on somebody doing a job already, and they wanted me to do it. I was like, it's all you, bro. Call someone else. I'm not going to deal with this character. And I left. So when I spray, I know that my chemical is going to mist and get other places. And so I will shoot the whole thing. That way, if it was to lighten something a little bit, I'm not going to let a teardrop be lighter, you know what I'm saying? If something has green moss or fungus or mildew or mold or something on it, and I'm washing this wall and it's going to splash on it, then there's going to be clean spots. I can't give that back to my customer and say, hey, here you go, give me my money, I did that wall, and this wall's all streaked and looking like crap. So, you know, I have to explain to the customer, hey, when I do this wall, I'm going to have to do this wall because it's going to get all over the place. I'm not going to get up on a ladder with a washcloth and directly do this, okay? I'm spraying it with a pressure washer. There's no way it's not going to get on this wall, or there's no way I can do up here and it's not going to drip down. The water is going to go downhill and you're going to have clean marks. So I'm going to go all the way down with my chemical to make sure everything's even. So I don't have a streaking problem. I don't have discoloration problems. I've never stained paint that I've been doing this. If I have, I haven't noticed it. You guys watched me do a video the other day where I did a stucco house. It was painted stucco. I didn't change anything about my system. Soft wash. I was in and out in an hour. The guy was beside himself. He said it takes him 8 hours, and he sits there with a pressure washer and he uses some pressure, and he hurts the paint, and and I'm like, no, dude, watch, man. I just do it like this, and I showed him, part of the wall. He came out on video, actually. You guys, I'm sure you guys seen it. He was talking to me or whatever. Maybe I edited it out. I don't know, but. No, it does not hurt the vegetation because it's diluted. Now, you'll have problem areas. You might have columns, like people have columns going up by their front doors or whatever, little artsy craft stuff, little builder designs, little round columns, square columns, whatever. You might have something that just won't get clean. Maybe you have white gutters and that crap just won't come off. It's getting better, but it's not the best. Then that's when I'll go to my chemical tank, and I have that drain cock with the CPVC pipe I showed you in yesterday's video, and I'll go ahead and I'll put like maybe a half a gallon of bleach, that straight bleach and water, or straight bleach and soap, into a 2-gallon bucket of water, and then, or 2-gallon sprayer, and then I fill up my sprayer. Depending on how much I'm going to need, I'll put about a gallon and a half or so of water in. So now we're like 3 to 1. Now we're really strong. We got 3 parts water to 1 part bleach. So I just went really, really strong on this. That's something that when I do that, I don't let it get on my clothes. I don't let it get on my skin. I don't let it get on any flowers. I try my best to keep it away from any plants. I don't let it get on the concrete floor if I can at all help it, because that's going to really clean a spot on the concrete floor. It's not going to get everything up, but it's going to, you're going to see, oh, Dan was there. look at, there's a clean spot. And you don't want to do that, The only way you want to do that is if you want to show a customer, like, look what I can do for your floor. If you want to give me an extra $40, I'll throw your front porch in, something like that. But, that's something you do direct spray. Maybe you walk along and you spray the gutter and you know, you be really careful. The house is already clean, everything's good, but you just mist it up onto the gutter, nice fine mist. So if anything that's coming down will pretty much evaporate before it hits the ground and hits you, and you just move right along that gutter, let it sit 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, make sure everything looks okay, and just walk away and just leave it, let it do its job. And if you got any loose dirt or something, that, you know, any loose mildew, maybe you got, you know, sometimes it'll eat through it and the soap will lift it and everything looks good, and you know it's but you might have to come back with, you know, garden hose pressure and just rinse the loose crap off the gutter. I'll do that, rinse it down, and we're done. I don't have any damage that way. But I would never mix it that strong and just walk along spraying the whole house like that. No way, because that's just going to be too strong, and that would hurt your vegetation. So that's something that's really popular. Somebody asked me about the roll-around pressure washers. Yeah, man, mine's a roll-around pressure washer. I just took the wheels off, made little L brackets, and bolted it to my trailer. I did that because I don't want to roll it around. I don't want to be out there. I did that when I started. And I'd be out there, and I had a bucket, and I had a siphon hose into the bucket, and I had the garden hose, and then I had my wand hose, you know, my pressure line hose, and I would move, and it came with like 50 feet of hose. Then I would move the machine, and I'd have the garden hose, and the garden hose would get stuck on the wheel, and it just irritated the piss out of me. And I was like, man, screw this. I want to be like a bug guy spraying a yard. I want to show up, I want to roll out my hose, I want to spray, I want to roll in my hose, and I want to go down the road. I don't want to muscle around with crap. I don't want to mess around with crap. I don't want to mix chemicals. I don't want to do crap. I want to get in, I want to get out, I want to get my money. That's it. Give them a good job, get my money. I don't want to be rolling around stuff. So that's just the way I am. You know, but there's no reason why you can't. Like I said, mine was a roll around. You could buy those 4-gallon pressure washers on the internet all day long, and they're roll arounds, and then they make skid brackets for them. But all I did is I just took L bracket, just, you know, L angle iron, I guess they call it. You know, the L iron, angle iron. I took, I think it was 1.5 inch angle iron, and I cut little pieces like this long, painted them black, and bolted it to the skid of the pressure washer, and then this way I bolted it to the trailer. Done. Saved me like $50 from buying the skid mount set, and I kept the machine on the rubber. You know, that whole thing's still there, so it still has the rubber dampeners that it's supposed to have. So that roll around is just fine. Let me see what else. What other questions have been asked? I'm not sure. I get my bleach from pool supply stores. I use one in particular, so that's where, you know, you could find that concentrated bleach. I do not use the crap that like Home Depot and Lowe's sell, like mildew buster, vinyl siding cleaner, pro strength stuff, or this or that, because if you read the ingredients, the active ingredients is sodium hydrochloride, which is bleach, which is chlorine. Sodium hydrochloride, right? Is that what it's called? I don't know. I might be saying it wrong. The bleach. That's all it is. It'll probably have 6% or 8% or 7. You might as well just go to Walmart and just buy a thing of Clorox bleach. You know, I think they sell it like $8 for like a gallon of some fancy name crap with a bunch of stickers all over it that shows you before and after. All it is bleach. So don't fall for their marketing crap. You just go buy a 3-gallon bottle of bleach at the grocery store. You know, maybe buy 2 or 3 gallons, depending on how big your house is or what you got to do. Let me see. I can't say how far it'll go for you. I can't say how many square feet of a home you can do on a gallon of bleach, because it depends on the material you're washing. It depends on the wind and temperature of the day, on how fast the stuff's going to dry. Depends if you're going to use soap. Depends if what your mix ratio is. Depends what your bleach strength is. So I can't say, man. But you know what? I mean, bleach is cheap, $9, and what you don't use, you can put it in your washing machine for your underwears or whatever. Panties. Some of you guys wear panties. Let me see, what else? What else? I'm trying to think. Tips. Somebody asked me about my tips. I use the black tip and I used a pink tip. I showed you guys a video, the tips that I use, to house wash. You gotta go back and watch that video. The black tip is your like 1-story fan soap tip, and it fans it out. And then the pink tip is your 2-story soap tip. That comes out with some pressure, but not a lot of pressure. I mean, you put your hand in front of it, it ain't gonna hurt you. But that comes out with some pressure, and that still pulls maximum volume, and that allows you, all it is the black tip shrunk down to a circle instead of a fan, just straight. So you're still pulling soap, and I use that to get up high. So black tip for ground level stuff, and then when I got to get the arches and, you know, get up to like damn near 3 stories, I put the pink tip on, and then the pink tip puts the chemicals on. When I'm done, I pull the siphon hose off of my machine, stick it back into the chemical tank on another hole, just so it, you know, keeps that line clean. I got a little bucket of clean fresh water with a separate siphon hose. I stick that back in the siphon, and then I go with the black tip and the pink tip, and I siphon clean water through the injector to clean the bleach out of the chemical injector, so the little ball in there and everything gets cleaned off. And I use the same 2 tips to wash the house, to rinse the house off, rinse the gutters, rinse whatever I need to rinse the windows. Those are the same 2 tips I use. Now, in some of my videos, you may see that I might have a green tip on. I don't know what that degree is. You got green, you got yellow, and you got red. Those are like your basic colors you buy off the shelf here at Lowe's. And just think of it as like safety colors: green, yellow, red. Green, go. Green is, you're pretty good. You're not really, that's not a pinpoint of pressure. It's pretty fanned out, strong pressure though. Not the best thing to use for like trying to do a driveway, because it's so fanned out. You got to get so darn close to it with the tip. But that's a good one if you're like trying to just rinse mortar or something like that. You got brick building. That's a good one. Green. And yellow is gonna have it more in, less spread, so you got more concentration at one point. You can start chipping paint if you're not careful, you know, peeling paint off, especially loose paint. That's good for driveways and sidewalks and stuff like that. That's good for mortar. Just make sure you don't have loose mortar, because it'll throw it out, you know, it'll pull the little blocks of mortar out. And then you have red. Red, you're dead. Be very, very careful. That's coming out like a pinpoint. So that's like if you want to draw your name in a driveway, like "wash me," you will. It'll do some damage if you're not careful. That's your serious pressure there. Doesn't make it where you can get up high though, because it comes out but dies. It doesn't have flow. There's no balls behind it. It's pressure basically from this window to that window. Beyond that window, there's not much pressure. There's just an ass load of fluid, but it's not pressure. It loses its velocity. So when you're up close with it, you're gonna take the paint off of crap really fast. But when you get, you know, when you spread out, it doesn't. It's not really gonna affect anything. The pink one, the pink tip I use for second floor soaping, stuff like that, puts out a good amount of fluid, and that maintains its pressure. And I'll use that to pressure wash gutters and stuff like that. Like to hit the even first floor gutters. Once I put the chems on, then you get that loose stuff, and you know, I'll use the pink tip on the first floor gutters to blast the gutters clean without it being so much pressure that I, you know, damage a gutter, rip it, or you know, you never know if it's a painted gutter and you didn't know that the homeowner painted it. Now you start peeling brown paint or tan paint off of a white gutter, and now you got issues. So you got to be really careful for that. So that should answer those questions. I'm trying to think what else. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know if there is anything else. I think that answers a lot of the questions you guys had about the pressure washing. I think it does. But look, I got a whole playlist on pressure washing. I got like probably maybe 9 or 10 videos there now. Go back to the beginning and watch all of them. I got all types of information in all of them. I discuss tips, mix ratios. I discuss it all throughout. They're not necessarily titled, but you guys know by now, you've been following me for a minute, you know my videos have information all throughout. I can't possibly title them all. You know, I can't put in a title exactly what's in every video. So you guys gotta, sorry, but you just gotta go back and and you know, watch some videos that are interesting. You're interested in pressure washing? Watch my pressure wash videos. Watch them all. There's going to be information in all of them. A lot of your questions will be answered. And you know, if you got like technique questions or something like that, or how do you reach it, just watch the videos and you might see, oh, look at that, look how he did that. You know, that's how I learn a lot of stuff, is I just sit there and I watch people, and if I have a question, you know, that's what I do. I'll just watch people, different videos and stuff like that. So hopefully that answers your questions on all that. Now that's going to end this video, so that's just going to be this is going to be video response, your pressure wash, house wash questions answered.